Hello my friends, welcome back for another exciting day in Empires and Puzzles, and today brings us a new portal. We have Untold 2 coming back out today, Treasures of Fire and Frost. This time around they did decide to add a new hero, and it will be for the Frost family. So let's take a look at Bragi? Alright, so this guy clearly looks like he's ready to duke it out with his frost-covered fists, which would make a certain amount of sense that he is the monk class. I guess his frost mohawk is kind of interesting too. Just a reminder, the Untold 2 family does have the Myrkheim Frost Core as their family bonus. In case you need a reminder of what we're talking about here, it says all enemies will receive corrosive frost for 3 turns. This one says it deals up to 472 frost per turn and lowers the target's attack by 15% each turn. This frost damage is scaled based on the amount of damage he has taken. So, obviously it gets stronger the more damage he takes. This is a pretty normal theme that we've gotten used to with these particular characters, but notably, his attack stat is a little bit lower, which is why you're only seeing the 472 frost damage as opposed to the like 600-ish we saw out of the last character out of here who just simply had a higher attack stat. So that is notable, and let's take a look at what else this person does to maybe make up for some of that attack loss. So in the Aether department, we have counterattack, which I suppose makes sense for a brawler. Interesting, staying on point and theme there. Not the most exciting Aether power, but it is helpful to get that counterattack in. Then down here, operating at fast speed, we have Freezing Power Hooks, which attacks the target with Frostfall Strike, dealing up to 2200 damage, deals 40% more if the target is of the fire element. This special skill never misses its targets. Steals a random dispellable buff from the target to the caster, and then it says, if the target has been inflicted with frost, Freezing Power Hooks will be recast once on a random target. Okay, so let's break into what this guy does. First of all, worth noting, we did talk about his lower attack stat. With that in mind, let's also discuss the fact that his defense stat is much higher than most characters. And this is in the attack path, mind you. So you can choose to ignore that and increase some more defense, but with the Frostfall Strike, I think it's important to note that a lot of their damage falls off very quickly if you don't have a high enough attack stat rating. So I would recommend probably putting your points into attack for this character regardless. I also don't know if I feel like there's that good a reason to stack him in defense. Even if you wanted to make him tankier, let's play devil's advocate and just say, all right, let's make this guy super tanky and I want to tank with him. At fast speed, he's probably going to go off a few times. He's got his Frost Core, etc. Okay. Let's talk about what happens if that is the case. So by reducing his attack, his Frost Core damage will go down. So you're going to get less damage per tick with his Frost Core. His strike itself will definitely go down as well. Remember, this 2200 is a super inflated number. In reality, base damage is 1100, which could go down if the attack stat does not necessarily match up well against the defense stat you're going up against. So understand that, like, instead of doing 1100, maybe he's going to do like 900 damage to a target. But he will cast a second time, most likely, especially if Frost is already on its target. Now, he does steal a random dispellable buff, but it is only 1, which is not ideal. I would like him to steal all the buffs from his target and put them onto himself. I just feel like 1 isn't necessarily doing enough to justify his power. Sorry for the on. So yeah, like I'm not necessarily feeling this guy. I also am having a hard time understanding the concept of this freezing power hooks because it says it will recast once on a random target. So if they all have frost, right? And this is where I'm running into a problem. I'm not sure it clarifies because the little question mark, all it says is if the target is defeated, the special skill will not recast. So maybe that is the answer. So in my mind, I'm thinking this guy will attack. And if they all have frost, right? Let's say they all have frost. Then he's going to continue to hit over and over and over and over and over again until a target is defeated. In theory, it sounds kind of like that's how it works, but I don't understand. And the reason I say that I don't understand is because like something like this won't work well in a situation like the Titan, right? Like, so what? Is this guy just going to chain attack forever on the Titan until the timer runs out? Or till the Titan is defeated? See, that's where I am saying, like, the logic there doesn't make a lot of sense, and it doesn't do a great job clarifying how it works. Now, if this simply says it can only be recast once, so this attack at most can hit 2 targets, and only 1 if he kills the target, right? So at that point, like I don't think it's that exciting because the amount of damage he's putting out is fairly minimal to begin with. We're talking 1100, but like 1100 to 2 targets is 2200 max damage output. Well, I feel like that's just not that exciting, honestly. It's fine, but it's certainly not game changing, and you can't even control where all the damage is going, and so on and so forth. So if he only casts twice, I feel like he's a little bit underpowered for where he needs to be. But again, it doesn't do a very good job fully elaborating how this special will work. So we're going to have to wait to see how this guy works in theory. But I'm assuming he can't just continuously attack till a target dies because of the problems that would cause on things like Titans and so on and so forth. Maybe he does, though, right? Maybe this guy will literally continuously punch out a Titan until the timer ticks out, in which case this guy would be literally a ridiculous Titan hero. But like I can't imagine that was the thought process or something that they would have allowed, because what the literal heck if they did. So yeah, let's just rate this guy assuming he only does 2 attacks. He only gets 1 additional, and I am going to base my scaling on that. So like if I'm wrong, I'm happy to revisit this score, okay? But like, I'm just going to err on the side of caution because the other side just seems ridiculous. So, assuming he only can hit a max of 2 targets, I'm going to give this guy a 7. I don't think he does enough to be that excited. He's still good. Like the frost that he's going to do with his, his frost core, the hitting 2 targets, the stealing a buff, all of these things are good, but not great. So I'm going to go ahead and give this guy a nice rounded out 7 on both offense and defense, because I think he just doesn't bring enough group effect to be great. Yes, he can do a dot to all, and that's helpful, but he doesn't bring anything else to your party, right? He just kind of exists there. He does a little bit of damage output. I just feel like there is too much of a cost to choose to put this guy into your party compared to somebody else who maybe adds additional buffs for your team or additional debuffs for their team, etc. So, yeah, there we go. We'll give him a 7 all around. Still cool character. He is worth leveling if you pull him, don't get me wrong, but he's not a chase target in my personal opinion, unless he can go like, super punch out on the Titan. Like if I'm wrong and he does just go absolutely crazy on Titans, then he's going to be pretty well sought after. Okay, thanks so much for joining in, everyone. We'll catch you next time.